Dead by Daylight is one of those games that I look at through rose-tinted glasses. I've been playing it pretty much since year 1, and I've been there during the highest peaks and the lowest of lows, with breaks here and there of course. I've got pretty fond memories of this game, making some great friends and finding bizarre bugs. Nowadays, it has an average player count of about 55,000 on any given day, and with the 9-year anniversary approaching and Springtrap coming to Dead by Daylight, here's my review of the game up to this point. Now, Dead by Daylight is a 4 vs 1 asymmetrical co-op multiplayer horror game. I know, mouthful. Though, if you have any more than 10 hours in the game, it really stops being a horror at all. The game mainly focuses on matches between the killer and the 4 survivors, where the survivors must repair 5 generators on the map out of the 7 present and open the gates to escape. It sounds nice and simple, right? Well, wrong. Because things in this game take time, and time is everything. The longer the match goes on, the more likely it is that the killer will win. Well, usually. By default, killers are far more powerful due to their abilities being able to hinder and affect any survivor. Killers come in a wide variety of, oh, this guy puts down bear traps, this guy goes invisible, this guy has a chainsaw and runs with it, this lady throws a hatchet, and this guy's a clown. All the way to motherfucking Albert Wesker, who throws survivors across the map, and the Cenobites from Hellraiser, a literal demon. Now, if you really think about it, Dead by Daylight is the horror game equivalent of Fortnite, collabing with everything and everyone. Seriously, Geralt of Rivia will be available soon, and you can run away from Ken Kaneki while teaming up with Alan Wake and Lara Croft. It really makes no sense. Anyways, coming back to my point. Killers by default are far more powerful, but that doesn't mean survivors can't fight back. Now, if you were the only survivor, chances would be pretty grim, but lucky for you, you've got some friends, or enemies. It's safe to say that the killer will most likely want to chase someone, because that's their job. And since you outnumber them, this can be used to your advantage. For example, notice that little claw mark icon on a survivor portrait? That's your cue to let you know that they are being chased. And if you don't hear anything, that means they are likely far away from you. Therefore, it's probably important to do gens and progress the game slowly but surely. Now, there are 3 main types of players really. We have the gen jockeys, who prefer to avoid the killer and just focus on doing generators. Think of it as their only sole purpose in life. We have the runners, usually people who are decently good at running the killer around. They will most likely have their aggression 90% of the time. Now, this may change upon 2 criteria happening. The runner not being actually that good, or the killer just giving up and switching the target to bully some inferior gamers. Lastly, we have the immersed gamers. Now, let me tell you how to spot an immersed gamer. Usually, they run perks like Urban Evasion, Home Spirit or Distortion. If you spot an immersed survivor, just know you have entered the first circle of hell. But hold on, did I just mention perks? Well, that's perfect because... Now, both survivors and killers all get 4 perk slots that you can mix and match. You get perks from the Blood Web, which is a leveling system in this game. You earn blood points through actions in game and spend those in the Blood Web. Here, you acquire items, perks and offerings. For now, let's focus on perks. These are as simple as repair gens faster when people are around, heal others faster, heal yourself, which is useless by the way, see other survivors through walls, to downright insane shit like planting explosives on the generator, so when the killer kicks it, it will explode, stunning and blinding him. Yeah, I know, horror game, right? Usually, you'll want your build to resolve around a certain activity. Gen rushing? Well, prove thyself and leader are your go-to. Getting caught by the killer too fast? Try investing into life or sprint burst. Now, it may be confusing at first, but you will soon learn what works well with what. And remember to never be afraid of experimentation. Or any metas for that matter. Now, going back to survivors. Perks aren't your only option of surviving longer. For that, you'll want to learn what your primary quote-unquote tools are. You can run, of course, but you can also jump through windows, you can go inside lockers, and hide out of sight, or you can drop pallets and jump through them too. All of these actions will be your go-to options for prolonging chases and living just a little bit longer. Remember, the longer you survive, the longer your teammates, hopefully, will progress the objective. And this is how you will slowly learn about looping. Because let's be real, this game is a glorified ring around the rosy, and looping is just that. You'll learn that you want to make the most of your resources such as pallets by coming really close to being hit by the killer just to drop it on them, and reset the distance between you two. Just remember to be careful and move on when you must. By default, you will always have 2 health states, but if you go down, then what? Well, the killer will want to pick you up and carry you to a hook, where you effectively have 3 chances. Think of them as your lives. And here is where your biggest friend comes to play: altruism. Survivors that care for each other, heal, and maybe sometimes even swap aggros are usually more likely to survive as a group than alone. Of course, there will always be outliers. Well, how about the second side of the story? Believe it or not, but killers are an integral part of this game, since the match literally will not start without them, because what would be the point? What I'm getting at is that most of the killers feel like there is a lot of effort put into them, from skins to their detailed powers and playstyles. Oh, and playstyles. Every single killer will have their unique playstyle, depending on the one that you pick. Because unlike picking a survivor, which doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, picking a killer is far more important, since you may be stuck playing a trapper against a pre-made bully squad, God help you. Either way, as a killer, most of the utilities the survivors use become your obstacles. You need to play around pallets and windows in order to bit by bit cut down the distance between you and the survivor. Or, you know, just run into them by accident. Now, if you are a basic killer, you pretty much rely on mind games. To be fair, most if not all killers do. Bait a survivor into going into one place and boom, surprise hit. This is the stuff that you will learn as you play. Stuff such as moonwalking and faking certain actions. Your primary goal is to hit and down a survivor, then pick them up, carry to a hook and, well, hook them. Though sometimes you may find difficulty in doing just that. Survivors have the abilities to save others and annoy the living hell out of you. When someone gets downed under a pallet, just so you know, the rats are probably around and they are just waiting for you to pick them up so they can stun you and post the clip to Reddit. For killers, information is key. Stuff such as perks that give you aura reading or reveal nearby survivors is what you might want to use. On the other end, there are slowdown perks, where kicking a generator will create map pressure so you have more time for your chases and ultimately your victory. I won't get into too much of a detail regarding specific playstyles or strategies, as this is not the point of the video. But if you're looking for that, I would recommend watching content creators such as Odzdarva. I want to say one more thing about the killers. I noticed that this game is slowly approaching towards what I like to call the League of Legends issue, where there's so many different characters in the game that it becomes really hard to differentiate stuff, especially since some of it can be extremely similar. Even more so, if you are a new player in Dead by Daylight, well, good luck, cause you'll need it. Now, before the ranking system in this game changed to what it is now, I used to be rank 1 on both Survivor and Killer. I realized that this doesn't really mean that much. But what I'm trying to say is that I've seen the sweatiest possible gamers and the chillest lobbies imaginable. I initially dropped off the game for about 2 or 3 years after the insane Survivor meta that was present at the time. The game was insanely sweaty, not even comparable by today's standards. I've came back to this game mostly to see if anything improved, and let me tell you, improve it did. I'm happy to say that I feel like this game is back and it's pleasant to play. Stuff such as 2v8 is an insane blast to experience, and I'd be lying to you if I said that I prefer old Dead by Daylight. Now, one very important question remains. Would I recommend this game to a new person? As anticlimactic as it may be to say, I have to answer with a big maybe. You don't need me to tell you that this game has an insane learning curve, and some of the tech is just straight bizarre. The tutorial in this game is lackluster, to say the least, and the new player experience is horrible. But once you get past all of that, underneath is a hidden gem that a lot of people hold near and dear to their hearts. If you can stomach all the strange bugs, horrible learning curve, and the insanely toxic community, then I'd say give it a try, see if you like it. Steam has a 2-hour refund policy for a reason. All in all, Dead by Daylight is incredibly unique. So many other games have tried to follow the 4 vs 1 formula that it pioneered. Many of them have painfully declined over the years, but only one stands tall. And as strange as this little game may seem, I really love it. Thank you for watching and see you in the fog.